is one of the most beloved characters in Baldur's Gate 3, but his history is a tragic tale of suffering, manipulation, and desperation. Let's talk about Astarion. Before becoming a vampire spawn, Astarion was a high elf noble living in Baldur's Gate, and he was enjoying a life of privilege and indulgence. However, this portion of his life was brutally cut short over 200 years ago. Due to a ruling Astarion handed down as a magistrate in Baldur's Gate, he was assaulted by a local gang and left barely clinging to life. On the brink of being unalive, he was approached by the vampire lord residing in Baldur's Gate named Cazador Sar. Now, Cazador, having previously already taken an interest in Astarion, saw this as his opportunity to have him and then turned him into a vampire spawn. And this is where things get really dark for Astarion. So once he was turned into a vampire spawn, he was completely robbed of all of his free will and forced into a life of servitude and torment. Cazador was a very sadistic master, treating all of his spawns with extreme cruelty and even just using them as tools for his own twisted purposes. Completely bound by the bonds of creator and creation, Astarion was completely powerless against his master. Over the next few centuries, Cazador would use this power to physically and emotionally abuse and torture Astarion, and any form of attempted resistance or escape was met with swift and harsh punishment. An example of these punishments included locking Astarion inside of a coffin for over a year, left with no food so that he would starve. And this was just because he attempted to resist one of his master's commands. Other times, Astarion was even commanded to physically torture himself just for Cazador's sick, twisted amusement. However, Astarion's story does take a dramatic turn when he is abducted by mind flayers and infected with a mind flayer tadpole. Now, this surprisingly breaks Cazador's control over him almost completely, and it is shortly after this that the player character in the game will find Astarion. And now Astarion, with his newfound freedom, must choose if he will face his tragic past and attempt to begin the healing process, or will he instead remain a fearful, power-hungry man who will continue to repress his traumatic past in search for power for the ultimate revenge.